Welcome to Talking Trail, your podcast about everything Blue Mountains trail running. Welcome, Rob and Sarah.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, Robs.
And Rob, I noticed you're wearing the GPT shirt, 100-mile shirt.
Yeah, I am. Got back from there a couple of weeks ago now, and keen to talk about GPT experience. There was a real Blue Mountains posse that headed down.
In this podcast, we're going to cover the race results from GPT and the Blue Mountains presence, which was quite large down there. We had Narrow Neck Night Run last week, and then we've got an awesome interview with Lou Clifton, and she's had an amazing year, but you'll hear more about that later.
Great. Should we jump into results then?
GPT? Yeah. So GPT, this is the Lou, as you'll hear in this interview, this was her third year of attempting to do 100. He is part of the World Trail Series, which is sort of over time starting to be a bit of a competitor to the UTMB series. And there's a couple of races around the world that used to be part of the UTMB series, and now they're part of the World Trail Series. And you can see that, particularly this race, which is down in sort of the base is Falls Gap, and it's in the Grampians. So you're running along the Grampians Peaks Trail. That's what GPT stands for. But from the number of overseas competitors and the caliber of overseas competitors, it's really starting to have a place on the world stage. So this year, Caleb Olsen, who won Western States in June, he came out and won it. So he continued his form. We had Sherpa was leading it last year when the race was cancelled mid-race after 22 hours because of the heat and how people were being affected by it. So he ran again, and he's a bit of a crowd favourite. There is this beautiful video, GPT's Facebook or Instagram, where he's mid-race, he's hiking up a mountain, and he's got a flute out. So he's from Nepal, and he's playing the sound of silence, Simon and Garfunkel song, on his flute, while everyone else would be out of breath,
Yeah.
And it's just like he's out for a stroll, and then you realise he's got a bib on, and he's, coming top 10 in this
He's right.
miler race. There were so they had a miler, but then they also had some other events as well. So they had a stage race, so you can do the miler over 4 days. So you do exactly the same course, but you get to go home and go to bed each night. So a lot of people come and do that. They also do relays, so you can do the miler as part of the relay team. And then they also have, on the Thursday, they just have a 50K, and you can do that outright, or you can do that as part of a relay team as well. So Matty O'Donnell,
day one of the stage
on
race.
day one,
Yeah.
or you can do it
If you're doing
as
solo.
day one, So do that. Yeah, so
Wow.
Dan Jones
Yeah.
of New Zealand, who had also competed over at Western States, so he came fifth this year.
Yeah.
So he did the 50K day as part of doing the stage race. So he actually won the stage race as well. But beating him on the 50K was Peter Frano from Slovakia. He had a ninth at Western States this year. You can see there's a real elite field. You had Ricardo Cherta, who came third in the 50K from Spain. He then came back up to the Blue Mountains with Mike Dunstan, and he got in, was able to join in do Narrow Neck and sort of compete at the front with Benson Lawrence. We'll talk about that soon. In the ladies, Hu Zhang from China won the 50K race down at GPT. She was the third female at Western States. So honestly, there was some real high-caliber athletes. Lucy Bartholomew came second at 50K down at GPT.
She got top 10 at UTMB.
Yes. So she
incredible.
We all know what the caliber. But getting back to the GPT 100, the miler. So in the ladies, we had Nan Yi Chung from Hong Kong. So she won that outright. Nicole Payton from Victoria, last Sportiva athlete, she came second. And then Lou Clifton, who we're going to talk to about her GPT race, she came third there. So other Blue Mountains runners, so we had Lockie Dwyer. He finished in 33 hours. So the winning time was Caleb at 21 hours and 19
It's pretty
minutes.
fast for such a technical course.
Yeah, so by comparison, so he finished Western States, so he won that, but he did that in 14 hours 11. So 6 months later, 5 months later, he's doing the Grampians Big Trail and to win that outright, 21 hours. So you can see it's so much harder. We had Nathan Webb. He's a good customer of ours, so he really impressed me with his race. So he went down, just had his wife with him as crew, had no paces, and put out a sub 40-hour run.
Amazing.
Well, yeah. We had Paul McQuaid. He was down there on his own as well, completely on his own. So I helped him out at some early aid stations. And yeah, because of the time that he was doing, so we lost sight of him. So he finished his miler in 43 hours. I think that was his first miler as well. Dave King from Hazelbrook. It's funny, Dave was part of what Dave Stewart, the MC, was referring to as the Blue Mountains Mafia. So we had a contingent where we'd all come down together. And so there was Dave King, David Slavak, Sean, Bill Lott, and Gavin Clifton. We were all competing in the 100 miler. At the very first aid station, which is about 15 kilometres in, they all came in close together. Dave King was in the worst shape that we thought. He started to get some crampy niggles, and we were all like, he ended up powering through. In his own words, like after the event, I just felt good all day. And I'm like, you don't remember the first 15 days, or not as clearly, but he obviously did just have a really great couple of days. It was a couple of days, so he took 40 hours, 13 minutes, but he was the fastest of the Blue Mountains Mafia, the contingent. Dave Slovak. Yeah, so there were 29 countries represented.
Wow.
And what they did is really cool thing on the first day of each race. So on the Thursday before the 50K, all the flags representing all of the countries, and they did this sort of presentation where, before when everyone was gathered, so they did welcome the country, and then they announced each country that was represented and how many athletes were there from that country. Yeah, and so we were all standing around because we'd gone to the start. It was like a 6 o'clock start. We'd gone with Jodie Bailey from the Blue Mountains, who's having a great year. She was down to pace and crew Sean. I went, while I'm down here, I'll do a race. So she did the 50K. Got on the podium for her age group as well.
Amazing.
So we were waiting for her, and then they're like, "Oh, we need some people to help with flags." So Sean, Ryan, and myself, like Ryan, my nephew, son. So we all got to carry a flag. So I represented Ireland, Sean represented Malaysia, and I think Ryan represented Malta. So they had all of the countries there, and then at Falls Gap they had flags again, all at the finish line, or the 50K mark, or the people that were doing the miler. Yeah, and then they did that again on the Friday morning as well. On the Friday morning, though, they threw out a whole lot of kids. So there were all these kids. Weather conditions turned really horrible, so it was really hot on the first day. And then we had, wind chill -11, wind gusts up to between 75 and 95 kilometres an hour. Even Caleb at the front of the race, so he finished, you see a photo of him, he's got thermals, fleece, gloves, you name it. And that was pretty consistent from the very first runner to the last runner, all the mandatory gear. So even myself as a pacer, we all had to have the mandatory gear. This was the first race I've ever finished with or used a lot of my mandatory gear. So I crossed the finish line with just my snake bandage, my safety blanket, and a running cap in my pack. Everything else I was wearing.
That's what I found interesting with this interview with Lou, kind of hearing actually what extra things people actually carry to get through it. It's because it sounds like the mandatory gear sometimes this doesn't always cut it.
That's right. Yeah. So you sometimes see people, especially in the forums, online forums, people will say, they think it's overkill, and then they'll talk about other races. And you'll sometimes see some more experienced people say that's the minimum standard for what you should have. So you should go with something even beyond that.
But then more recently, there's been one more race, hasn't there?
There has. So last Saturday night, we had the Narrow Neck Night Run, Running Wild's last race of the season.
It's always a good one.
It's one of my favourite. It's a fun one.
It is. Yeah. It is great, and I just love the fact that you run out at sunset
It was a really good vibe this year, I think. Well, there normally is, but it was, yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously it was sold out.
Yeah, they
And,
capped at 400 and sold out.
Yeah.
So, and nearly 400.
And I think we have the first in their age group, right, Rob? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to get the results.
only just, it was close.
Or was someone around who was?
Yeah, I think I beat the second in my age group by 11 seconds. Yeah,
Oh, that's
it was
close.
close.
Yeah, very, very.
Mm.
So there's two distances, a 14K and a 12K. In the 12K, we had Benson Lawrence. I don't know if the fact that we had a Spanish runner, Ricardo Cherta,
Yeah.
International elite, mate, prompted him to
Brought him out of
really-
the woods to
really
race.
to pull his finger out to go harder. But he certainly set a new record,
Yes.
record. Even more impressive because he rolled his ankle with, I think, about 8 days to go.
Yeah.
So imagine what his time would have been.
Yeah.
Not hobbling towards the end, So Ricardo Cherta from Spain came in second, but quite a few minutes. And then Alex Matthews, who's a previous 6 foot winner.
Yep.
Came in third. It's great to see him running so well. Emily Brunt, another new course record. Came first. We had Alice.
I made the mistake of,
Yeah.
she passed me early on, and then I made the mistake. I started to feel good, and then I passed her. And I was like, on the way back, I was like, I shouldn't have passed her. I should just stayed behind her. She finished very strong. She was running
Well,
very
that's
well.
great.
Yeah, I don't know how much slipstream you get when you're running
Yeah.
compared to like bike riding, but
Yeah.
it'd be worth something.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a headwind on the way back, which I didn't realise on the way out.
You don't really feel it on the
Mm.
way out.
No.
You just think, oh, I'm well carb
Yeah.
loaded.
Yeah.
Everything's
Good.
feeling good.
It was easier than all.
Then you turn into it. Yes, Ella Shaka came second and Judith Thompson. Yep. Our very own Rob Inshaw came 7th overall and first in his age group. Someone else close to the team, Jeremy
Oh,
Leonard.
you gave him a shout out.
Yeah.
Came 12th overall.
Jezza, he
Look,
did well.
It probably didn't surprise you at all, but it sort of surprised me.
It totally surprised me.
yeah,
He
yeah.
doesn't train a lot, and he does okay at all these races.
Yeah, I was really slightly miffed actually because I was like, I've been training hard. He just rocks
Yeah,
up
he really
and
wanted to get you, Rob.
Jeremy May.
Cool. Doing
He had competed down at the Milo GPT. He was out on his bike
well.
and did this sort of live commentary. It was quite funny and entertaining, but also for the front runners.
Yeah, that's
Jeremy
fun.
was doing this live commentary on behalf of Running Wild there. And then in the 14K, we had Mike Dunstan, the very own
He
Mike
was flying.
Dunstan, was
Yeah.
flying.
That's a really good time.
Course
Yeah.
record, knowing the elevation profile on that course, there's even a concrete section towards it, so to speak. 14Ks in 55.
it's what I like about the out and back. You get to see these elites in action. Like Benson Lauren, Michael Dunstan, like they're just, and it's impressive how fast they run.
Another person close to the team, I think we can call him our own, Daniel Franken.
Yes, yes. So he's
Former employee here.
well, and his mum
His
works
mum
for us
works for
making
us.
whipper
Oh.
packs. So
He's one of our stars.
we've got a Summit Gear connection there.
Yeah, so he came second, and then Cameron Dodds came third. Fergus Jackson is continuing his form and 4th overall, which is great. And I also wanted to shout out to one of Lewis Quadrito's team, Odin Brennan. So he's in under 16s and came 6th overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
so, I mean, given the caliber
Yeah.
of the people that were showing the start line, that's very impressive. And in the ladies, we had Katie Morrison came first, Rebecca Gibbs was second, and Emma Ledbrook was third. Yeah, really, really good
It's a
event.
fun run.
Soup at the end, there were 3 different flavors of soup. There was a lot of chat about how good that was. I know the soup came from Osteria at Blackheath.
It's so nice for them to hold
provided that.
soup post the race.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really good. We had the party girls that had been in the shop earlier that day, and they turned up with their yellow tutus and their fairy lights, and so I got to see them a few times out and back on the way out there.
Oh, they're my friends Alice and Taryn. Shout out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Alice.
Yeah,
They did
very
well.
cool. Yeah, well, here's our interview with Lou Clifton.
Howdy. If you liked what you heard today, we'd love you to just rate the podcast how you feel.
Yeah, this podcast comes out on Apple Podcasts, comes out on Spotify, and you can
YouTube.
also find it on YouTube. So,
So hit that button, like, subscribe, and help us out.
yeah, share it with some friends. there's good content that you think that your friends, family members would like to hear it, let them know, share it. It'd be great.
And we really thank you for always taking the time to have a listen to us. We appreciate it.
We love the Blue Mountain.
Welcome, Lou Clifton, to the podcast. How are you going?
Good, thank you.
It is such a pleasure to have you, Lou. I'm personally inspired by you, as well as pretty much probably every runner in the Blue Mountains. You're probably the most famous name of the Blue Mountains. And in trying to do a little intro for you, you nearly broke the UTMB site with all the races you've done. So we'll try to do a little recap, but you're kind of hard to summarize. You do have a UTMB index of 650. You have done 300 milers this year. On top of actually many other races this year as well. So I feel like today we're going to at least focus on that. But also for people that may not know, you have done the UTMB race, you've done OCC, CCC, you've done Cappadocia, Taraweras, World Masters Championships. So there's many things in your repertoire.
Yep.
Fuji. Oh, good on you.
That wouldn't be on YouTube.
No, that's not on there.
Didn't make it.
Flat ground running.
23?
Not that long ago.
No.
Well, you did recently just get third in the GPT 100 miler. So we firstly kind of want to start there. Maybe if you want to talk us through your race prep for that race and how you found the race.
A race prep probably been going on for years, really, because this was my third attempt. So I guess every other attempt has been prep for GPT. Also did the camp, the training camp, not this year, but the last 2 years. Which is really good. And then this year I couldn't make the camp, but I volunteered to Single Track organise volunteer weekends to work on the track that was all closed after the bushfires, which was amazing. So I went down maybe 3 weeks before the race or 4 weeks and just flew down, and lovely Jay Baker picked me up from the airport and spent the weekend running on the track and doing track work. So that was a really good prep.
Just in terms of the 3 attempts. First one,
Yes, the first one.
you broke your ankle.
Busted my ankle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Second one,
In
it
rain.
was like heat wave, and they
38 plus
kind of
degrees,
called it off.
yeah. 22 hours in. I made it to another aid station in that one.
The race is going
Yeah,
well, but
yeah.
you've been through a lot of suffering at this point. You
Yeah.
decided somehow that you're going to have a third crack at it.
Yeah. A bit nerve-wracking, actually.
I bet.
It was, yeah.
Did it, were there sort of demons there, or was it like, no, this year's mine?
I felt probably definitely more prepared than last year, because I'd had a lot of injuries and I was totally undercooked when I went in. I was cooked during the race, but undercooked going in, and ended up with a stress fracture afterwards. So yeah, I kind of went into that knowing I hadn't run further than I think 58k. I had multiple injuries. Like I had the ankle at the beginning of the year from the previous GPT, and then I've had another injury in July. And so yeah, I wasn't trained at all. I was just, I want to get this done, and kind of went in just planning to do it on. So yeah, went in this year feeling much fitter and having done the other 2 milers as well. That was good for the confidence, even though they were really different races. Yeah, so felt a lot fitter knowing the course, and definitely in the race I was really, really glad that I'd gone down and done that training that weekend. It was super helpful. Yeah. So it was all going well until the storm.
So what happened at the storm?
Just super cold. It was predicted, but it was way worse than I expected it to be.
I heard some pretty grim. You lived it.
Yeah.
I heard some reports that sounded horrendous.
Yeah, it was horrendous. I was prepared, like I had all my gear, but I wasn't prepared for how bad it was going to feel. It's Mount Fuji, I ran through snow, and I just had a thermal and a jacket and gloves, and I was fine. Race back was 120 kilometre gusts and minus 12 wind chill, blowing people over, and survived that. But this was like a combination of all those, because it was the rain, the cold, and the wind. Yeah,
So it did get to minus 11 wind chill.
I read that on
Yeah.
Ryan's report, because I was thinking, no way was it just minus 7, as if minus 7 wasn't enough. It felt way worse.
Yeah, so minus 7 is what they predicted the
Yeah.
day
Right.
before, and
Yeah.
warned us that.
I could see that it was bad. I was like, this does not look good. And then I left Mount William Aid Station, but just like then you got 2 kilometres to the summit, which is on road, which is the only road for the whole race. And it was fully in by the time I got to the top. There was no way that I could stop and take my jacket off. Like you just freaked.
Yeah.
Really. I was so cold already. And luckily I knew the course. So I'm like, okay, I'll just drop off that horrendous rocky slippery descent, and then I'll be sort of in a gully, like little valley, and I'll get changed there out of the wind. But it was still super cold, and I had spare gloves and also had I had multiple buffs, so that was
Yeah,
good.
right.
But I only put on one thermal. So I had another thermal, I had thermal bottoms, and I had a waterproof pants, and I just put them on. So I thought, I'm going to go back out the other side. I'm just going to get hot. And that was all above the snow line. I just didn't think I was going to need it.
So did you eventually put it on?
Yeah, I put it on when I got to Jimmy Creek, but I
Right.
was already freezing. So then I had to spend 30 minutes there, last 30, 40 minutes warming up. But
So did you go and hop in the car?
no, my whole, when it's really hot and you're going, I'm just going to have Coke when we get to the aid
Yeah.
station, just going to have Coke. I was like, I'm just going to get in the car. I'm just going to get in the car. I was like that. But no, I didn't. I just got changed. Steve was in the car, asleep, warming up. Oh, my crew's supposed to be here. And they were so good. They were like, oh, what car do you have? And I told them. They're like, oh, he's asleep. So they went and got him, and, he was there.
I did read that in your
Yeah.
Facebook posts.
'Cause I was ahead of
that
my
was really
splits.
good. You had, over 3
Yeah,
posts,
yeah.
like a detailed race report. And when I read that, I must say to you, like, to give, some support for Steve.
Oh, I totally got it.
because
Yeah.
I prior to that, I'd
Yeah.
been crewing for Gavin.
Yeah,
And it was just so, and Ryan was crewing for Sean.
yeah,
And because there's such little communication, like, so they said you must be on Telstra with your mobile. People were just going and were getting a SIM card just for the weekend. And still, like, you drive out of Paul's Gap, within sort of 5 kilometres, you got no reception, even with the Telstra tip. And trying to work out based on the tracking when the runners were going to be coming into the aid stations, and you could be out by 2 hours.
yeah.
And it was just such a almost cat and mouse to say, well, do we leave now and then we'll just sit in the car for potentially 2 or 3 hours? Or, do we cut it fine and hope that they haven't arrived yet? And then we get in there, and we did that with one. Actually, it was Jimmy Creek.
Yeah.
Ryan and I got there, and we looked around, and then we actually had to ask someone who did have reception to see if Gavin and Sean had already left, like been and gone.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we thought they should be there within sort of 10 minutes. We were there for like 25 minutes. We're like, no one's coming, And then it was just lucky that a runner came out of the bush, and then he said, and I said, oh, do you know who's behind? And he goes, oh, there was a guy behind. He was complaining about hill spurs. I went, oh, I'm good.
Check when he was there when I'd gone through the last aid station. But I might have just been a bit quicker than I thought I was going to. I did not mess around. Like, I was just get off there as quickly as possible without hindering yourself. So yeah, it did actually make you move quite fast. The cold.
So was it that leg with like coming off Mount William?
Yeah.
And as you said, you wanted to get down out of the wind
Yeah.
into that gully.
Yeah.
Is that where you came across Bridie?
I didn't come across her. She was about 40 minutes behind me.
Oh, she was already there.
Yeah.
Was you at that stage?
Yeah, she was already. I passed her at Burra Hut. When I got to Mount William, I was and I went not at the aid station, actually later, when I got up to the top of the storm, I was actually thinking, I hope she's pulled out, because I was a bit worried about her and cold. Yeah, it was pretty full on. And, if you haven't had a lot of experience in those conditions, I mean, I made mistakes, and I've got a fair amount of experience. So I was quite worried about her. But yeah, she was behind me, so I didn't actually see her, and I didn't hear what happened until.
So did the conditions get better, and what kilometre are we at now?
I think they got worse.
Great.
I got a bit better for me. I think I got to Jimmy Creek maybe half 1, and I think I told Steve 2 a.m. And then I put on all my clothes, and then I headed out because I was a bit worried. I just thought, I don't really want to go back out feeling how I'm feeling. Like, it won't be good. Like, it's not a good decision. So I made the right decision to put all my clothes on. But then what I hadn't really realised was, well, I'm not actually going back high. I'm just like, it's when you look at the elevation chart, like the drop off Mount William, Jimmy Creek, it must be over 1,000 meters, 1,200 or something. Like, you're back at the bottom, and then you only go up a little bit, and you're sort of sliding around. So then I just got so hot because I had all my mandatory gear plus another layer, like fleece, plus my puffy jacket. Because I said, Steve, I think I'm going to put my puffy jacket on as well, because I was so cold. And then, like, within half an hour, I'm like, I'm so warm, I've got to take all this off and try and get it in my pack. But that was better.
But did that resurrect you, like kind of getting warm again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like my legs, I really struggled just turning my legs over after that. And I'm not sure if it was just tiredness, fatigue, nutrition, or the cold, or just everything.
But you did have your thermal pants and rain pants on?
I put my rain pants on. I didn't put
okay,
my thermal pants on. So my rain pants, 2 thermals, like a fleecy thing, my puffy jacket, a thin puff jacket, and my waterproof over the top. And then I got really cold. Which was, I was like, now I'm really hot, but I'm happy about that. Yeah, I'm warmed up.
Were you happy with your finish? Did it end?
Yeah,
Just
I
happy
was.
to be finished.
Yeah, I was happy to finish. I wanted to go, 30, a bit under 30. 29 something would have been nice, even if it was 29.59 and it was 30.24. And I had that extra stop at Jimmy Creek. So a bit disappointed about that. But the conditions are what they are. So happy to finish. It was amazing race though. I mean, yeah, but that sort of stuff, that's what it's all about as well. Having those challenges. I remember Beth Cardelli back in the day used to say, "Oh, I like it if it's really hot. It just makes it, more interesting race for everybody because it's just more than about decisions that you make and how you deal with the challenges and So kind of looking back on it, I'm kind of happy that all that happened. At the time in the storm, I was just like, this is nuts. What am I doing?
And how does that miler compare to Leadville? And then we'll get to UTA. as
Yeah,
well.
like all totally different races.
So maybe before getting to Leadville,
Yeah.
so this is your third mile of this year.
Yeah.
Do you think you felt the fatigue of the other ones? Or you think doing them had helped with GPT?
Yeah, good question. Probably a bit of both. I think and Steve actually said to me, my manager, said, I thought you were a bit undercooked for this race. And I'm like, I don't think I was undercooked, but I didn't really have, and it was my choice. So after Leadville, I did 6 Foot and Lonely Mountain. And I think if I hadn't have done those races, I think that had benefits because I think from a sort of running shorter, faster races, from a fitness perspective, that was good. But it took away from being able to train on the more technical terrain, not just from a skill base, but I think more the muscular fatigue. I think if I'd had more time on terrain like Grampians, maybe my muscles would have coped a little bit better than they did.
Yeah.
So I'd had this conversation with Mike Dunstan about Grampians.
Yeah.
And also obviously the team from the Blue Mountains who were all down there last year and then got called 22 hours. So we were trying to work out where in the Blue Mountains you could train for that same sort of terrain. We've got stairs, so that a lot of the big mountain climbs, it's all rock shelves and stairs, but we don't have like long slabs of rock like they do in those sort of the boulder fields and then rock fields. That was straight after Jimmy Creek. It was like so slow, you just run all right. And looking at like even Caleb Olsen's compared to what he did at Western States earlier this year, then you go, clearly he was not running the whole way either.
Yeah.
So slower. But so if you were going to go there again next year or in the future, have you sort of found some tracks up here that would be
I would go
good mimic?
to Grampians for a month or 2 weeks as long as I could go. That's what I would do if I wanted to go back.
Because we just don't have any.
I don't think so. Last year I went out and ran on the Great North Walk, and I think that's probably more similar. But it is. I mean, I think you can do great training here, but it is quite different. Like I did quite a bit over solitary. I say quite a bit, maybe 2 or 3 runs. But like that's the thing. If I'd come back from Leadville and not done 6 Foot and Lonely Mountain, maybe I would have done 10 runs on solitary. It would have made a bit of a difference. And then obviously like down Perry's and up to Lockley's Pylon and across the top, you're not really getting a lot of pace. And out from Lockley's Pylon to the road, it's not super technical. Yeah. It sounds like a weird thing to say, but I don't think that there's a lot of super specific stuff that you see here. Like my plan just said the hardest, most technical kickers you can find, basically.
Cool.
Then moving maybe to give us, for someone who hasn't done Leadville, what's it like? And then maybe UTAs and for people wanting to pick milers if they get to do it.
At the beginning of the year, and then they announced
It's a strange year to do 3 miles when you start the year with a front tractor.
Thinking about it on the way here, like what happened there? How did that happen? Because I had the Leadville entry, but I hadn't booked or anything because I had just had so many injuries, and I just thought I don't want to book a trip to the States and then be injured, not be able to do it, or go out there and not be able to do my best. Because I went to Europe last year with an injury, and like I finished my 2 races, but it wasn't really what I wanted. So yeah, and then the inaugural miler was announced, and I thought, oh, I'll do that as my test run, and if I get through it all and everything's okay, then I'll book my flight to the States. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. Just before the miler, I was told by an orthopedic surgeon that I should never run again because I had a rupture in my tib post, and so I was very, very upset. And then I'm like, oh, I know when I did this. I did this last July before I went to Europe, and I've been running and racing on it since. So saw Patrick, my physio, and saw Bill, the podiatrist, and they were like, "Oh, I think you'll be all right." And so I thought, well, I'll go into UTA Marla, and if I finish it, then I'll do Leadville. I haven't really answered the Leadville question leading into that.
Yeah, luckily surgeons don't know.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, you just find the people that give you the.
That's right.
Yeah.
You get the answer you want.
Yeah.
So I was a bit worried in UTA Milo, like when I could feel like aching and stuff. I was like, oh, it's all just going to snap. Got through that, and then booked everything to go to Leadville, and it was just amazing. Colorado is incredible, and it's
Yeah, so tell us
historic
about it.
race. So it's 100 miles through the Rockies. The main climb is over Hope Pass, which is the famous climb. But the event is just steeped in history. It's one of the oldest ultras. Was set up in the 80s by Ken Sauber and Mary Lou Malkin, and they do every Leadville. They come to the briefing and they do their grit, guts, and determination speech. And it's just like cowboy country, and you're at 3,500 meters above sea level. It's just awesome. It's quite small, and pretty grassroots still. Before the trail run, the week before, they have a mountain bike race. So they have a 100-mile mountain bike race, and then they have a 100-mile running race. Some
Is it the
people
same
do both.
course?
No, it's the race. The ride is a little bit different. It doesn't go over Hope Pass,
Oh, okay.
but it does do quite a bit of the race. Yeah, so there's quite a bit of fire trail, and there's some technical trail on the Colorado Trail, and then there's the Hope Pass is the biggest climb, but there's a couple of other big climbs too. About 5,000 meters of elevation.
So yeah, I was led to believe it's quite runnable.
It is,
Marla, but you've got the altitude to do it.
Yeah, it's runnable for a miler, and you've got the altitude to deal with, but you also have to manage it so that you don't go out super hard. And it's an outback.
Yeah.
So you go out 80K, you turn around and come back. So, my whole kind of strategy was like not to be walking runnable stuff in the back end. Yeah, so not to blow up the first half. Really.
And it still attracts some pretty high caliber runs. I mean, you went-
Roche was the star of the show, but really, I mean, Anne Flowers should have got way more recognition, I think, because she broke like 20, Anne Tresson's 20-year-old record. So that was just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The 2 records broken.
He broke a record.
He broke his record.
His own record, yeah.
And then it's an outback, so you see them both.
Yeah.
So, cool. Yeah. So I was going over Hope Pass when he was coming back. He was like, yeah, awesome. So cool.
Love you.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Love you too, David.
Were you happy with your race there?
I was happy. I was really happy. So you get a buckle.
Oh, yeah.
Good segue. So I actually bought them because they are kind of pretty impressive. Thought I'd do a show and tell.
Wow.
So that's the Leadville 100
that.
buckle.
Oh, that is
So
impressive.
There we go. That's really impressive.
So under 25 hours, you get the big buckle. Yeah, I think that's right.
That's big buck.
That's the big buckle.
So tell me, have you actually put it on?
No. I've got more buckles.
I know
It's the
maybe
year of
not,
buckles.
out to the pub or
We can
wherever,
whip
but
up a
even just
strap
on
here,
the-
all right? You could wear it like a shoulder.
It's kind of cool. It's got a little thing in there that's made in the USA with flat. It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Oh.
what do you get for GPT? What else show and tell do you have?
Oh, but I also got
Yeah, I'll pass that to you guys.
these just sit at home on a shelf.
Oh,
But I
wow.
also got that.
Oh, it's
the
heavy.
gold padding.
Oh,
That's the
cool.
mining town.
Yeah.
So Ken and Mary Lou set up the race to bring people back into the town when the mining all died.
Mm.
And like they basically turned the town around. That was the age group win panning bowl.
There you go.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's already got some
Beautiful.
gold in there.
Yeah, real goal.
Oh, I think I forgot a buckle. There was the UTA buckle I didn't bring.
Ah.
GPT. and 6 6 and then there's the UTA. So I need how many belts is that? Could you put them all on one belt?
Weight
yeah, well, you
training.
just slide them off and put another one on. But it's funny, like the whole ultra running scene.
So
is
funny with the
all
buckles.
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
running for buckle. And I've only ever seen 2 people try running live who've worn
Mm.
a buckle that they've won in a race, like, earned in a race.
So at the Leadville presentation, there's a guy who's done, I think it's 30 with that 30 Leadville. So they'd made him like this buckle, like this, and he put it on. Awesome.
Be like a boxing one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then they had donkeys. So there's a kind of there's like a donkey endurance event, but it's really
So-
big in Colorado. They go out gold panning with the donkeys, but it's actually like a race. The Ken who set up Leadville has got world records for that apparently. Anyway, they have donkeys that take all the stuff up to the aid station on Hope Path. So then when you go up there, you get up there, there's a donkey. Yeah, it was really cool. It was so cool. But I did get really sick.
Yeah, well, Chris, who wrote Born to Run.
Oh,
they
yeah, I've
rescued
got
a
that
donkey
book.
and he got into the donkey racing.
Yeah.
So you run along with your donkey.
Yeah.
And what led to you getting quite sick? Was it nutrition?
Just came on really
Yeah.
quickly. I was feeling really good. I went over Hope Path feeling really strong, and I passed someone who was vomiting, and I'm like, oh, poor guy, and I gave him some ginger, and then I'm just coming back up the other side. It happened to me. I just
Right.
suddenly felt sick and started vomiting, and I just couldn't shake it off.
Did you have any ginger left?
I did have ginger left. Did have
You
ginger.
didn't give it all away.
Sort of came and went a
Yeah.
bit, but I just struggled with
Would
it.
have been the altitude.
Yeah, I think with the altitude and I struggled with my nutrition a bit after that. And even at the finish line, they're
Yeah.
like, do you want a hot chocolate? Yeah, that sounds great. Not a good idea.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are your tips and tricks for someone like trying to do these races with nutrition? Sounds like you've got ginger in your back pocket. If
Yeah,
needed.
ginger's good. I guess have like a variety of different things that you can try. Salty stuff and one person that I passed in the back, like the back half of the race, said, oh, I've been really sick. And they said, drink more water. So then I tried to get more water down and that did help a little bit for a while, but I'm not sure what it was. It did get quite hot on and off. And then at night it was freezing, really, really cold.
So what time does Leadville start?
2 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gnarly. It's good because you finish. I think I finished at like maybe 1. Yeah, 3, maybe 3. Yeah, thanks. I'm still recovering from my races.
So
Yeah,
is it
it's
when
3
the-
a.m. That'd be it.
So is it when the sun goes down, that's when it turns
Yeah,
cold?
it gets really cold. So yeah, just have lots of different options. I mean, I tried a few things. I did stop at a couple of aid stations and tried to get like some salty noodles and stuff in. So kind of lost a bit of time doing that as well. And then I just this is a waste of time. I'm just going to go nothing if it's not working.
How long did you go nothing?
Most of 80 Ks, I
Oh my
think.
God.
Wow.
I didn't have much in that
Yeah.
80 Ks. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but I
How
felt
do you do that?
Yeah. This moves on to mindset,
Seriously,
yeah.
when that happens to me, I totally just. I know. I think that I get caught apart.
I think I was pretty lucky. Like I have DNF in a race being really sick in Thailand.
Yeah.
When I did Coast to Cosy, I did the last 80K with hardly any food. So I kind of had that. I know I can do it, but I don't think it's very good for you.
Yeah.
I had nibbles, I think, and I tried to get a bit of sports drink. Like it wasn't 0,
Yeah.
but it was 50 to 80 grams of carbs an hour. Yeah.
Do you notice the difference with races like that where you depleted yourself for 80 Ks when you finish the race those next few days? Like do you kind of feel like you crash more, you need more food to kind of compensate or anything?
I think generally after mileage, I'm just like
You're
ravenous.
just dead.
Yeah, you can't eat much for about a day, and then
Yeah.
you're just like eating everything in the house for a few days. You just cannot. You
Yeah.
know what it's like. You just
And you
cannot.
have those lows where suddenly I feel like I just need to drink like Coke or something to pick
Yeah.
me back up again. I
You
don't
just
know.
can't get rid of the hunger.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you eat. That's settled a bit now.
And it's funny because your body's craving maybe really fatty or really salty.
Yeah.
And so you go, I've just ordered this for lunch and I know normally I wouldn't want to be eating
Mm.
this, but gee.
Yeah.
So how many days does that last?
For me, it's about 3 or 4.
Wow.
Yeah,
Normally
yeah.
by sort of Thursday, Friday, I'm back to
How do you go with sleeping? Because that's my big thing. Like after any hard race, I usually might have a bit of trouble sleeping, but after mileage, it's really bad. insomnia, and then you have the sleep deprivation from the race, and the
Mm.
exhaustion, of not being able to sleep and going back to work. It's
Mm.
pretty horrible.
I don't have
You don't
that.
have that?
The first night, so I do the tripping on imaginary tree roots
Yeah.
in my sleep,
Yeah.
like Sharon would go, you just trip. And I go, and I go back to sleep. So that would normally last a couple of days.
Yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
just a miler, you get a specific kind of dream.
Yeah,
Wow.
even doing like 100K
Mm.
races.
I've only done one, but I actually I felt like I got through it with the sleep deprivation. I feel like it got.
Yeah.
I was talking to my daughter on the phone after I fell asleep while I was talking to her on the phone. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, so like immediately after the race, when you kind of get back and get cleaned up, go shower and sleep for a few hours, and then maybe that night, but then the next night, especially like your feet are throbbing and pins and needles, like nervy things
Yeah.
in your feet. Yeah, fun time.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it. You'll love it.
This is why we do this.
And so you were overall, you're happy with how you went?
Yeah, in
'Cause, I mean,
Leadville.
yeah.
Yeah, really happy. I mean, I was ninth. I got picked, and you like really like well, everyone's a lot younger than me, really, but a much younger runner passed me in the last sort of 10K. So she had a pacer. So you can have pacers in Leadville, and they can carry all your stuff.
Yeah.
It's like a Leadville. Maybe it's
Yeah.
like your personal donkey or
Donkey,
something.
yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
So they flew past, and yeah, I didn't mind. So she finished, I think, 5 minutes in front. I didn't mind too much, but I think if I'd been 10th, then I got 11th, I would have been a bit disappointed. I'm like, oh, 8th, 9th, whatever. Yeah, I was happy with my time. I wasn't sure. Like, I thought on paper I could maybe do 22, 23 hours, but with the altitude, just a total unknown what's going to happen. So yeah, I was really stoked to get on 25 in that time, and the last few years that time's been top 5. Yeah, super happy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because I heard Jim Walmsley talking about Western States. And he's like, it's time that people run the sport tank, and he was essentially ditching the pace. So he would have been very proud of that.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings. Like I had a pacer in UTA miler, Brendan, and that was fab. Like it was so cool. With my first coach, and he's a seasoned, experienced runner, and he was so good to have. So I like in Leadville, I was also passing a lot of people with paces, and I think if you got someone with you and you're feeling a bit crappy, and they're just like, "Oh, we'll just walk for a bit," I would be like, "Yeah, sure." But I think if I'm being on my own, I just kept pushing a bit more, and I think it's really hard for a pacer to push someone when they're not feeling good because you don't want that. You're like, "Oh, are they going to tip them over the edge here?" Or so yeah, I think I'm quite happy in my own misery.
Yeah,
Plus, you can have your music on, and
Yeah.
that really helps. So
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. North America again.
Yeah.
Do a race because I know, Western States, Leadville, Hard Rock.
yeah,
There are people who put their hand up to be pacers
yeah,
for overseas athletes, and I've always wondered about that. Going, well, that'd be cool to get someone with local knowledge, especially
Yeah.
if they've done the race before. But then you're like, you've got to gel,
Yeah,
you know.
you
So
don't
it's
know
like,
who-
well, would I want that? And they won't know what my are,
Yeah.
So you get someone who might be a drill,
Mm.
or you get someone who's
yeah.
like real empath, and then like.
Yeah.
That's the last thing you want. So
Yeah.
so I was going to ask your view
Yeah.
on that, but I mean, you sort of answered that.
Yeah.
Whether you would ever contemplate getting a local to be a pacer for you when you're traveling.
Well, I was
overseas.
thinking about it. I thought that there would be like lots of people around that were, and they did say, oh, when you get into the Blue Lake aid station, there's quite often people there saying, "Do you want a pacer?" But there was just one person. He was like dressed in like a fat suit, like an inflatable fat suit, and he's like, "Do you want a pacer? Do you want a pacer?" And I'm like, I don't know. I was a bit sick at that point. I was like, I don't really know what's going on. But, yeah, maybe if there'd been like a chick there that, I might have. Yeah, I was
That's good
like, do you
enough
want to
stuff.
be with that guy for the next like 10 hours? I'm not sure.
Puppy too.
And that was it. He probably would take it off, and I would go, oh, damn, that guy's hot.
So given that we don't have any real
Mm.
outreach, so Blue Mountain, but even Australia-wide, like
Yeah.
Kosciuszko's really not that high compared to a lot of these mountain races. When you got over to Leadville, were you feeling it just sort of walking around?
Oh, totally. Yeah,
Okay, so
you
it
feel
wasn't
straight
just when
away.
you
Yeah,
start.
And how long were you there for? Right.
2 weeks.
So you had time for the.
Yeah, had
Yeah.
time, but I think 3 weeks would have been better. Yeah. definitely. Like when we left, I was feeling. I mean, I didn't feel like I noticed it actually in the race. I didn't feel like I was puffing it or anything. More than you would normally do in a race. But I guess it just, you potentially you're slower at the same effort level.
Yeah.
But yeah, initially just walking around and jogging, and it was pretty hot as well. It was, you can feel it. Yeah, where we were staying, just under 3,000 meters, and the race led doors 3,500 above sea level. But we did quite a lot of hikes. So we did hikes up to over 4,000 meters, 4.5, 4.8, leading up to the race.
Wow.
And I think that was, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're walking up there and it's, people are struggling, struggle street, people are stopping. Yeah. So that was super, that was really good training, even though there's not a lot of elevation in the race overall compared to other milers. It was just super helpful just to do those two climbs. And then actually when I went over Hope Pass, it seemed quite small compared to the mountains that we hiked up the previous 2 weeks.
And what is the terrain like going up and over pass? Is it wide fire trail?
No, no, it's
is it
like single
push
trail,
stick?
rocky. Not really stairs, more just switchbacky tracks and rocky, and probably kind of a bit like going up Solitary, maybe not as
The
steep.
west side?
On the east side.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, a bit more, probably a bit more switchback, especially you sort of come up above the tree line and it's very switchbacky, yeah. And then a little bit slippery, coming down the other side, switchback, so a bit scree.
So then, of the three, which one's the most technical, and which one has the best vibe, I guess?
Oh, they all have really good vibes.
Mm.
Yeah, all of them, definitely. I mean, Leadville's just because of the history and being there, and it was just been a bucket list race for so many years. Yeah, I love the vibe there, and it's so cool the people that started the race at the briefing, and yeah, just love that whole vibe. And also Shane was there, Shane Simpson. There was you should get him on out there. He knows it much better than me. He was doing his third Leadville, and he was there with his family, and so it was just awesome hanging out with them too and doing some training runs with him, and he had other friends there. And then GPT, I mean, I think for the environment, 100% GPT. Grampians is special. It's hard to explain. There's a vibe, isn't there?
I got goosebumps as you said that.
I know,
Yeah,
get goosebumps. Yeah, it's,
Like
everyone
in terms
says
of
it.
community vibe?
I
you
mean,
think?
just
The
like
terrain.
kind of a spiritual vibe. And I'm not like a kind of I'm a
That's
little
about-
no, yeah, I'm not like totally woo woo, but you just feel it. I think
Yeah.
it's just like it is ancient. Yeah, I said it on the panel chat as well. Like Gary Word Trail Runners podcast. The whole series is really good, but they've got a couple of episodes that I really love. One was on the geology. So if you have a listen to that, it explains about the geology of the Grampians and why it's so different. Yeah, I guess like the First Nations connection there must be so strong as well. And then the other episode was about the building of the track, which is, yeah.
And so just let's go right back to the start of it. So you
Yeah.
did UTA,
Yeah.
the first inaugural miler
Yeah.
through the Blue Mountains, I guess.
Yeah.
And that was like, sounds like you weren't completely dialed in to do that one because
Not
you're coming off an
really.
injury.
Yeah.
So what was
bit
your
last minute.
what was your approach to that? And was it okay? I'm just going to just see how it pans out. And did you have a target time? Did you achieve what you wanted to achieve? Well, yeah.
My target time was quite kind of generous. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have like an ambitious time because I just thought I'm just gonna get kind of a bit disappointed in the race if I'm off that. And I just don't really know where I'm at, and I haven't finished anything longer than what did I do to Jimmy Creek? So 106 when they stopped the race, and then probably had maybe February, March, April to train. I just got out on the gross as much as possible, and I did lots of loops in the gross, and I guess I figured I knew the rest of it pretty well. And then once you got to Medlow, you've got a long stretch of bar trail, really, other than coming off Narrow Neck. You've got all of Narrow Neck, and then you come off Narrow Neck from that horrendous path. And then you're going, far trail all the way back through to 6-foot tracks. You've got, you want to be able to run that section, so you don't want to blow up and not be able to run whatever 30K of fire trail. And then we all started to come off a bit on coming out of 6-foot track, I think.
Before Nellie's Glen or at?
Before. So felt really, really good coming into sixth at track, and then you do that massive loop,
Loop,
and
yeah.
wheels started to come off a bit there.
Nutrition wise, or
So-
just you think it was
Um,
fitness? Maybe?
Just slowing down. Yeah, slowing down, and I had lots of head torch, not head torch issues, but I changed batteries, and my head torch was running out really quickly, and I only had one spare. Yeah, I still felt pretty good when I came into aquatic centre, and then it was just so muddy. It got really muddy and a bit
Yeah.
gross after that.
Like when you're doing your training block,
Yeah.
like building up to typically for a miler, what sort of distance are you getting up to?
Usually do more in hours. So
Yeah.
kind of like like 14-hour weeks of running, not including, race
Strength.
strength and maybe trying to fit some biking in and stuff. And generally that might come out at 100. I didn't have a lot of weeks to do that pre UTA, and I didn't have as many weeks to do that.
And compared to the other 2 miles, is UTA a bit less technical? It kind of sounds.
Yeah, other than the growth section,
Yeah.
I'd say.
And did you use the same shoe for each of the race, or did you change?
I used the Prodigio Pro in all the races. Yeah, all three. Yeah. I had an issue with so I had a new pair for the miler.
Sorry, which mile?
Oh, the miler, sorry, UTA miler, the first miler. I had I had a new pair. I'd done like 50, 100K in them, but then they got wet, like going through the Gross River, and the insole started sliding out the back of the shoe, which, I'd like run hundreds of kilometers in my other 2 pairs, and that's never happened. And so then I knew Steve had a spare for my old pair at Medlow, but then he wasn't there because there was traffic jam, and I'm like, I'd already taken them out by then. I'd stopped to re-put my insole in like twice, and I just stuff it. I'd take them out, so my toe was rubbing, and anyway, I was just about to leave, and he arrived. Put my old shoes on, but what I should have done was put my old insoles in my new shoes. But
Well, they're actually stuck down.
yeah, I know,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that obviously that one had gone stuck,
hadn't
or it
worked,
came
yeah.
in the it was actually when I looked at it, it looked like it was a little bit smaller. So I bought them online from another shop, and
Wouldn't
There you
happen
go.
here.
See, even that would have bought you half an hour.
yeah, I kind of wonder if maybe the inner soles have been taken out in the shop with
Yeah.
a different pair, but then they're stuck in, aren't they? So why would that have
Well,
happened?
you can rip them out
Yeah.
if you want to, but
Yeah.
you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, we make sure.
But then the next race, I had my orthotic for my injured hip post. So I ran Leadville in my orthotic pros, and the same at GPT. Yeah, all good. I've been very anti-orthotic. Yeah, working for me. So
So you got them from Phil Smith?
I got them from Phil, Birdwood Podiatry. Yeah, shout out. Can we do advertising?
Well, he's been on
No,
the
but we promote,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
he promotes us.
Yeah, okay, cool. And Pat Physio, that helped me as well.
The last main direction I wanted to kind of ask you about, there's so many different things to ask you, but I guess it's really cool for people listening if they're kind of late these early 40s. You started pretty late. You've had an
Yeah.
incredible career. Can you talk to like kind of how you found running, and then like you've obviously built an incredible base to be able to do 2 miles in a year. But yeah, can you kind of speak to that journey?
Yeah, so I mean, I moved up the mountains to rock climb, so that was my passion. I'd done a little bit of running at school, but a little bit. But I always kind of done a little bit of running with climbing. And then, we Airbnb a spare room for a while when we first moved to the mountains, and this Dutch guy came to stay with his girlfriend, and he was going to go and run in the groves. And I'd walked most of the tracks, actually. I knew it pretty well. We got the maps out. He's like, yeah, I'm going to run here. And I'm like, oh, possible. Like, you can't run in the groves. Like, it's hard walking. So he went off and did this like 40K run and came back, and I was really inspired. I was like, oh, I'd love to do that. And he said, oh, well, there's a trail race in the Glowworm Tunnel half marathon. It's really cool. You should do that. And I'd had looked at it before and always kind of been, oh, it's just missed it. We looked at it. It was in 5 weeks, and I'm like, oh, I've got to put my money where my mouth is now. And so I entered and went and did it, and then thought, oh, that was good. I'll do Woodford to Glenbrook, I think was next. Did that, and then did the Bilton Bush Run. Yeah, so I did kind of 3 in a row. Yeah, I think I came second or third at Bilton Bush Run. I thought maybe I should get like a program, and then that was it. My life has
How's the
changed.
climbing?
God, as makes us strong.
Got runner's arms now.
Yeah, I know. I always said I'm never going to have to stick arms. To be fair, I think they were pretty sticky when I was climbing.
Quite common. Yeah.
But yeah, I tried to do both for a few years. You just can't do both well and work full time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get out now and again. Yeah, I love it. I can remember how to do it. So yeah, that was kind of how I got into it. And then I got a program with Brendan and got this program, and I think it had like 6 days of running, and I was like, oh, so park run on a Saturday, so that was my yoga gone, and yeah, track on a Thursday, that was my other yoga gone, and then I remember doing park runs and trying to go out rock climbing afterwards. Realized pretty quickly that wasn't going to work. So yeah.
I feel like it always makes the runners really happy in the mountains when climbers convert. It's like, yeah, come on our side, and the climbers probably feel the same.
We had that in the shop the whole time.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
runners and the climbers. Yeah. We're very touchy of each other. That's for sure.
But more and more climbers are
I'm running.
Running Wild and UTA.
What's
Yeah.
annoying is they're
Running
often
mountain.
really good runners.
They are.
VO2 max, something about climbing. They all have amazing
Probably all
VO2
the
max.
walking.
They're getting
Yeah.
that base strength.
So yeah, that's how it started, and I think I was 43 before.
Amazing.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you hadn't done, like, in the grand scheme of things, you hadn't done really any long distance running.
No,
Before
no,
then.
no. Like I had a half marathon was on my bucket list, and I did the Mudgee half. I think the year before I did the glowworm, so that's why I thought I could do the glowworm in 5 weeks because I trained for the Mudgee half in 5 weeks. So yeah, I ticked that off my list, and I thought that's like a really great distance. Why would you want to run any further? And then then you go, oh, I'll try the 5, and then Bilpin was like 30, and then I thought, oh, I'll do the North Face 50. So that was my first ultra in 2015. So yeah, so Brendan coached me for that. Yeah, and then that was it.
Hundreds of races since then, 10
Yeah.
years.
So I got 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the first one is, do you know how many kilometers you
Yeah.
did?
So I'm guessing maybe 3,500.
Yeah.
You would do more than that. Come on, we were
Yeah.
thinking you would
No,
have.
that's a long way.
It's a long.
It is.
Phil.
I haven't looked, maybe around that. I know I've done over 1 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That takes you to the moon, doesn't it?
I don't know. It's a long way.
I think there's a lot of runners up here that have done way more than that. Yeah, I probably don't do as much as, I would if I didn't have to work. I'd do way more.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing is just that recovery is really important. And probably as you get older, you need that a bit more as well. Yeah, do try and really prioritize sleeping and, recovery.
And are you still coaching?
I decided to take a break
Yeah.
this year. I had, so Kate, that's what I did in April. Kate over in WA, I coached her for 3 Delirious West, 300 miles, or 4 actually. And every year I go, I should come over and pace you. And so I knew this was going to be the last. Well, she asked me again. I'll say yes. But so I went over. And,
Well, you got me through the UTMB mile.
yeah, pleasure.
Lou was,
You did really
Lou was
well.
my coach for that
Yeah.
one. But
Good coaching.
awesome coaching. Very good. Yes, I exceeded my
Good.
my target time, which was actually just to finish.
Which you did.
Which I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is no mean
Yeah.
feat.
And then
Yeah.
it was if I finished, then it was sub 40 hours. Yeah, 30.
That's
Very
really
good.
good.
And what's your favourite run in the Blue Mountains?
Run or race or route or
Run. Like if you could just go run somewhere.
so without thinking about it too much, what pops into my head is Black Range. So I actually really like to drive out to Genolan Cave Road and then run down to the Cotswolds and back. That's one of my favourite runs. And I did see a koala out there once doing it. And because Genolan is closed, there's not a lot of people out there. And it's really nice. Black Range is really nice. And then anything in the groves I love as well. Yeah.
Very cool.
So my
Yeah.
question is, what's on the agenda? What's on the race calendar?
So I've got a Tarawera 100k entry. I would have actually really liked to have done the miler just to get to Kunamu, but that's like another miler in 2 months, so I'm not doing that because that's probably going to push things over the edge, including my husband. So I'm going to do the 100k. Be nice to do. Yeah, I'd like to kind of do some more runnable races and try and get a bit of speed back up. Maybe do a marathon, road mara would be good.
Have you got one in mind?
No,
At the
haven't
moment?
really
No.
looked, but I wanted to do the London Marathon for ages, and I had an entry for 2020, and then COVID happened. And if I think I could get like a good for age. I never get in the lottery, but I think I could get a good for age entry with my UK passport. If I join a UK club, and then I get a certain point for my age group, you can get an entry. So I've been thinking about doing that for a while, but I still have to get qualified to do it. And so that wouldn't be next year, but I might do the marathon. And then other than that, I've got like a massive maybe Leadville. I've gone in the Western States Lottery. I wanted to go in the Hard Rock Lottery, but I missed it. Might go in the Leadville Lottery again.
UTA? Any UTA?
I've got a work conference the week before, so I'm not sure. I would have liked to have done 100K maybe next year, but yeah, I might work the week before, so it might not work out. Maybe Sinani, maybe GPT. So I was thinking maybe GPT stage race, but do the 4 peaks the week before. So then you've got like a double stage race. So you do the 4 peaks, have a day off.
Because it's not enough to do.
It'd be so awesome though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It would be so cool if you didn't break yourself. It would be cool. Maybe-
Right to me is very similar in terms of vibe to the river there.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
Yeah.
the caravan park. So it's very similar to
Yeah.
that smaller.
Yeah, we stayed there on the way towards this year because I had planned to do 4 peaks and then GPT got moved back a week. So I volunteered at 4 peaks and we went down to biking. It was really nice to kind of break up the trip away. I might do looking at that Julian Alps race in Slovenia.
Yes, yeah.
I've subscribed for early info on that one. That looks really good. But it sort of just depends what happens with lotteries and they're not making a decision. How about you guys? What have you got planned?
Well, yeah, I'm doing the miler.
Yeah.
Yep, UTA miler. But that's the only one I'm planning to do
Yeah.
next year. I'm not going to do 3.
That was after that chat we had where you said that you really like shorter races.
Yeah, it was. It actually was.
Pretty much like the next day.
It was. I was actually I was going for a run by myself. I was running by myself, and I was something was just ticking in my head, and I literally ran into the house and signed up. Yeah, so I can't really answer why. I just did it.
I've got Tararua too, 50.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, exactly.
Great.
And
That's
you?
cool.
Well, I signed up for 6 foot on Monday. I'm doing 6 foot again.
Which,
Um,
12, 18,
This would be number 6.
16. Wow.
We're getting
Yeah.
closer to
Yeah.
Yeah, I've already got a belt and a buckle that I don't wear.
You wear the vest.
Have you got a pool room?
No, I don't.
I need a pool room
Yeah.
so I can go straight to the pool
Straight to
room.
the pool
Yeah.
room. Yeah.
I've got a drawer full of metal.
I've got a box full of metal.
I am entertaining the thought of going back to Lonely Mountain Miler
Yeah.
on fresh legs.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm.
that
Yeah.
would be a different race for
Yes.
me. Yeah, going in GTC
I was going to do it again.
again.
Got
Yeah.
it.
Even though he finished, which
Yeah.
was great, and it was his first miler, you know, getting off the toughest miler in Australia. for
Yeah.
sure. He did go in injured. You know,
Yeah.
he did walk a lot of the
Yeah.
back up, of course. Yeah, so he wants to have a go at that.
Yeah.
And, you know, so we had a really long conversation around where he could save time.
Mm.
And if you're not injured, you're able to run
Yeah.
Yeah.
more
different.
sections,
Yeah.
then you wouldn't need to sleep so much because you
Yeah.
wouldn't be
Be out so
in the
long.
mid hours
Yeah.
range and then needing more 20 or 30 minutes sleep. Yeah, we could easily cut a lot of time. Yeah, we're already planning.
Great. That's exciting. So
Mm.
it could be another Blue Mountain contingent and Bulls Gap then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. It was actually like I would have loved to have seen the location for everyone.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the Western States results this year
Yeah.
the other day, and you can see all of the city and the state that the US runners come from. And I reckon, based on the number of Blue Mountains runners that were down there, like we have to the
The second highest density.
of people than
Yeah.
the locals.
I've got a UTMB entry for finishing in the top 10 at UTA, but I don't want to do it this year. I want to do it next year because then I'll be in the next age group. If I won my age group in 2022, I want to go back and run with my age group.
And can you
then I'm done with
can
it.
you delay it?
No,
for
they
postpone
said
it?
no, so I have to get a qualifier or have a high enough score to get a guaranteed entry.
A high enough ITRA score?
Yeah, high enough UTMB. rating.
Oh, UTMB
Yeah.
index.
Which I think I've got at the moment, but it might drop down by the end of the year. But yeah, so I might have.
Crazy. You did 3 milers this year. I feel like if anyone deserves to do UTMB, it's you.
Yeah, so I'll lose that. It's not paid for, but I
Yeah.
lose that
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Yeah, well, thanks. It's
Thanks.
been really enjoyable.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks.
We're not too scary.
Not scary at all.
It's been an
No.
Hopefully I
absolute
wasn't
pleasure.
No, and thanks for all the bling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You should have your breakfast in there.
No,
Well, after a
thanks.
mile, I need to have my breakfast.
Yeah.
Well, good luck for the new year. And,
Yeah, thanks. You too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tarahira.
Howdy. If you liked what you heard today, we'd love you to just rate the podcast how you feel.
Yeah, this podcast comes out on Apple Podcasts, comes out on Spotify, and you can
YouTube.
also find it on YouTube. So,
So hit that button, like, subscribe, and help us out.
yeah, share it with some friends.
And we really thank you for always taking the time to have a listen to us. We appreciate it.